Welcome to Movement of Inertia tutorials by Civil Thinking, and in this class we are going to see the theorem of perpendicular axes. Now before I move on, I suggest you to please watch the video lectures on center of gravity and moment of inertia in sequence as in the playlist so that you understand better. The playlist link is in the description, or also you can click on the pop-up on your screen. Now coming to the today's class. Now in this class we are going to talk about theorem of perpendicular axis. Okay, now what is it? As it we say, it is about a perpendicular axis. Okay, now what is a perpendicular axis? Now let me explain to you here. For example, let us say we have let us say this is y axis and this is x axis. Okay, this is x axis and this is y axis. Okay, but keep in mind x axis and y axis, they are in the same plane. Okay, so x and y, they are in plane. Okay, they are in the same plane. Okay, now if we draw another axis perpendicular to this plane, xy plane. Okay, so if I try to draw it something like this, for example like this. Okay, now let us say this axis, okay, this is z axis. Okay, now this axis is perpendicular to the xy plane. Okay, so this z is perpendicular, okay, perpendicular to what? Xy plane. Okay, so according to the theorem of perpendicular axis, okay, now for example, let us say the moment of inertia about the y axis, okay, is I y y. Okay, and for example the moment of inertia about the x axis is I x x. Okay, then according to the theorem of perpendicular axis, there exists another moment of inertia about this perpendicular axis too. Okay, and in our case the perpendicular axis is z axis. Okay, so here the moment of inertia is going to be I z z. Okay, and according to the theorem of perpendicular axis, I z z is the sum of the moment of inertia of planes. Okay, so the sum of the moment of inertia of planes, or sum of in plane moment of inertia. Okay, and in our case the in plane is x plane, x axis and y axis, right? So I z z is I x x plus I y y. Okay, so this is the theorem of perpendicular axis. So if in plane, okay, if in plane moment of inertias are I x x and I y y, so there exists another moment perpendicular, okay, which is I z z. Okay, and that is equal to sum of the moment of inertias of the plane. Okay, and that is, in our case, it is the sum is I x x plus I y y, because x and y are is the x y is the plane. Okay, and in our case the perpendicular moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis is I z z. Why? Because in our case the perpendicular axis is z axis. Okay, so I can write about this here. According to the theorem of perpendicular axis, okay, if x y is a plane, right? Because if we have chosen x and y, right, we have chosen x and y to be a plane. Okay, and I x x is the moment of inertia. I will write in short as MOI. MOI means moment of inertia, okay, about x axis. Okay, and I y y is the moment of inertia about y axis, right? Then moment of inertia about a perpendicular axis, right? but it is perpendicular to what? Perpendicular to xy plane, right? So moment of inertia about a perpendicular axis which is perpendicular to the xy plane. And what is the moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis? It is Izz in our case, right? Is the sum of in plane moment of inertias, right? That is Izz is equal to Ixx plus Iyy, right? So this is our the theorem of perpendicular axis, okay? But let me tell you some short pointers, okay? So here Izz, okay, we also call it as, some books also denote it with IP, okay, that is polar moment of inertia, and some books also denote it with J, okay, and this is what we call as polar moment of inertia, okay. So the moment about the moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis is what we called as polar moment of inertia, okay. So I can write here this Izz, it is what? It is polar moment of inertia, okay. And remember, we denote the polar moment of inertia with the help of IP, okay, and other books denote it with J, okay. And it is what? It is the sum of in plane moment of inertias, okay. So it is the sum, okay, summation means sum. So IP or J, which is called as polar moment of inertia, it is the sum of in plane moment of inertias, okay. And this is all about the theorem of perpendicular axis, okay. So if you have any doubts, you can comment, okay. So that's it for this class. If you have any doubt, you can comment, and see you in the next class. Thank you.